everyone knows who's influencing politics, the rich people.
Yep.
Just make it stop. Trump was probably the closest you were going to get to that, his notion of draining the swamp. But then you saw how deep the swamp goes. Goes back years and years. Some rich guy that comes in that's, a TV star isn't going to shift that thing. They hated him so much.
Trump's biggest problem, I think, was that he didn't drain the swamp.
Yeah.
He said he was going to.
And the Twitter stuff. He could have been so much better. If he just kept his tweets to himself, it would have been way better.
50-50.
Okay.
Some of the tweets circumvented media lies and allowed him his chance.
Some were hilarious, too.
Oh,
True,
man.
yeah.
He was
you
so
know
funny.
You know what my favorite tweet is? Okay, because the people who watch know this, was when Elizabeth Warren was doing that really awful live stream. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to get me a beer.
Yeah.
And then she goes and get a beer. Her husband walks up and he smacks her on the ice.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, and I'm like, wow, that was a really bad moment for a presidential campaign.
Yeah.
But sure, fine, I guess it's the husband and wife. But she goes, I'm glad you're here. Trump tweeted. She said, Elizabeth Warren's husband comes in and says, I'm glad you're here. He's supposed to be there. He lives there. And it's just it's such an amazing tweet because it was something you'd hear your friend's place and his dad's in there. And it wasn't about politics. It wasn't about policy or, party or anything. He was just pointing out an absurdity, and it was really funny.
He was so fun. Shane Gillis had this joke. When Shane got fired, he came back right away and jumped right into the stuff. Shane Gillis, if you don't know, is a brilliant comic. And you see, Saturday Night Live would have helped him inevitably, but he's going to make it no matter what. Shane had this joke where he just goes, people complain about it, and he goes, I didn't vote for Trump. But
for those that are listening, Aaron winked.
I winked at Tim very succinctly, and he goes, "But he's hilarious. He's funnier than 95% of the community." He goes, if he came on after me, he would bury me. He'd be like, "Look at that guy, not funny, fat." He was fired, and it was right after the SNL firing, and it was just such a great topical joke.
I got invited to the White House. And
the sub shop in Atlantic City.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. I got invited to the White House. It was the White House Social Media Summit.
Okay.
And I was like, finally, in 2018, I said Republicans were too stupid, the politicians too stupid to deal with social media censorship to save their own positions. And I was right.
I like that you brought that up as a subject and then said positions instead of the word you wanted to say. But
well, I'm like wait. No, I
thought you were
their jobs.
Okay, I got it.
Or their lives, whatever. But to save their own jobs, they didn't realize they were getting crushed with social media censorship. Their supporters and fans were being ripped away. And so I said that in 2018. Surprisingly, I actually thought Republicans were still going to win, and they lost. And I was like, well, there you go. I guess I got half of it right. So I get invited to this White House summit. I'm all excited, finally the Republicans are going to do something about this. And do you know what I got to experience instead of a serious and legitimate conversation about social media censorship?
A little cocktail party where they want everybody to be nice and
Donald Trump doing an hour of stand-up.
Come on.
Legit.
Come on.
It was hilarious.
I want to hit the table. How great.
That's why people do it.
Hilarious.
Just him?
It was.
Did he have an opener?
I think he did.
Who was it?
But it was a really boring, I think he had an opener. I just don't remember because it didn't matter because Trump basically did stand-up. I'm telling you, Trump did stand-up. Trump does stand-up. His rallies are almost stand-up. But
yes.
This
crowd work. He'll do a bit, then he'll walk away from the mic, which is a weird thing. That's a very urban comic thing to do.
The room was I was a couple hundred of Trump's most ardent supporters.
Oh, I wish I could have.
I was the only one not wearing a suit. I'm wearing this.
Yeah.
And people are laughing. Tim Pool shows up. Everyone's in a suit but him. And I was like, because I'm here for, look, I'm not going to wear a suit. It's not what I do.
I'm here for serious matter, and we need to get something happening.
Well, I'm like, listen.
Look at this guy with his toque on.
Yeah, so that's a Canadian word, by the way.
Toque is a very Canadian word.
No, but I'm like, in America, people ask me about it. I'm like, in America, you can be some regular dude going to the White House and speaking your mind. You don't got to be somebody who owns a suit.
Right.
That's why I like this country. I can show up in the White House wearing my normal clothes, and that's what America's about. I don't got to put on my formal dress attire, my awards, my pins, or anything. I can be an American saying, listen up, this matters. Now, there was some serious nature to it, but I got to tell you, man, I sat there, and at first, I was kind of getting let down by what was going on. And then I just started rolling with it. I'm like, this guy's hilarious.
Yeah.
He jokes about himself being orange.
Yeah.
He's like, the lights, it's not my fault. They call me orange, but they put it on the and everyone's laughing. They get it.
Yeah.
They're self-aware. And it's funny how, when the left tries to make fun of Trump, they use the exact same jokes. He's overweight, orange, and his small hands. And I'm like, dude, Trump's already used that bit in stand-up. You can't just keep saying it. The joke's done.
Yeah, these people are stealing Trump's bit.
It was all they had.
He was great with crowd. I mean, he wasn't great. There's a handful of comics that are great. I mean, I believe I'm one of the best crowd work comics around. Big J. Okerson, Dave Attell. There's a few. But he was fun. For his level of experience, he'd be like, look at this guy. He's ugly. What's he doing here?
And when he does that yell thing, like, the fake news.
Yeah.
You see this woman? Fat woman. I tell you, she has no idea what she's... And he does things like that.
It's a very Borscht style of guy. I tell you, take my wife, please. It's like he had this Rodney Dangerfield kind of aspect. Because his favorite comic, and he will disavow this now, was Jeff Ross. He loved Ross, and Ross loved playing with him. And then as soon as he got in, Ross was like, yeah. And I love Jeff Ross, but he had this moment where he's like, I got to...
Do you remember in the 2016 cycle... when Megyn Kelly was like, you've called women fat pigs? He goes, only Rosie O'Donnell. And the crowd erupts.
Yeah.
And it was like...
They did. And it was at a time when she's attacking him and you think that they're going to jump on it.
He turns it into a joke.
She's bleeding from everywhere. I don't know.
That was the phone call.
Yeah.
From her eyes or, whatever. He just... Like, outside of that stuff, Trump needed to get his tweets under control. But I think if you're somebody... who was just tribalistic. I think there's a lot of people who are scared, didn't want to fall out of line with the tribe. They're worried about being ostracized or shunned or fired or whatever. So they just say, oh, yeah, I hate Trump too. Then there are a lot of people who are just blind zealots who are like, Trump is bad. But the people who are interested in actually listening to what he had to say, we hear so many stories about people walking away from the Democratic Party when they finally decided to just watch a Trump video. Because they learned that the media was lying and they also laughed. And they were like, that's not what they were. Like, the media was saying he said this, that, and this. And I watched the speech, and it was actually just, like, him cracking jokes. And, like, he didn't say those things.
Sure, they took a lot of stuff out of context. People
basically everything.
Didn't like him. And there was also a group of people that really liked him because so many people hated him. And then you looked at the people that hated him, and you're like, oh, these people are really surfaces. My wife...
really weird.
My wife was like... Here's the problem with democracy. She attacks it from a political standpoint and structures good arguments. So you can listen to him. But other people are just like, he's a racist, bigot, xenophobic, caused all this. And you're like, oh, these people are idiots. Maybe I'm going to listen more to what he's saying than these people.
And that's what most of it was. When you looked to the prominent progressive and liberal personalities in the country, they couldn't offer up a compelling argument against Trump.
No.
And so you got people who are sitting back in their chairs laughing at what they found to be a Comedy Central style roast of the political establishment. Trump was just going at the political establishment, making fun of them, attacking them, insulting them. And for so many Americans, it felt good. Was it Michael Moore, I think, called Trump a human Molotov cocktail? And he said to all of these people, what Trump is saying, it's like music to their ears. And on November 9th, 2016, they're going to the voting booth and they're going to send the biggest FU to the political establishment ever in the history of humanity. And he was right. He got the next part wrong. He goes, and they'll be happy for a week, maybe a month. And then they'll realize, like the people who voted for Brexit, when in actuality, people were extremely happy for quite some time.
Do you know how good your Michael Moore impression is?
I can do great impressions, man.
I shut my eyes. Do more. Go. Do more.
I can't do it now.
It's so good. Come on.
No,
just stop your inner censor and just do it.
No, there's no more Michael Moore.
It's so good.
It's great.
Why do you feel like I'm like Dance Monkey?
No, I'm not.
It's such a good.
I'm not actually good enough.
It's the best Michael Moore I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I'm not good enough to do impressions on cue. I can flow into it in a conversation and then invoke like what I remember of them.
Right.
If I practiced, I could probably.
All right, practice because it's really a skill that you could excel at.
Impersonation.
Yeah.
He was right, man. People like they watched Trump and it just felt good. He was a human Molotov cocktail being thrown into the system, and he made people laugh.
The pacing of the Michael Moore impression is perfect. The cadence.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I think like for your content afterwards. I think it should just be
I should,
you as Michael Moore.
I should do more.
It's so good.
Voiceover for Freedom Tunes.
Yes,
Seamus.
it's good practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, we got into the subject of Trump, and it's kind of like a post-mortem, I guess, on the Trump presidency and where we're at these days. Joe Biden is stumbling downstairs. He's giving Kamala Harris all of the jobs. She's calling foreign leaders. She's dealing with the border crisis. I said this. I said, Joe Biden, he's going to win. They're going to put him in his wheelchair. They're going to put the little blanket on his lap, and they're going to wheel him into the sunroom, and he's going to...
And then Annie's going to come in, and Daddy Warbucks will be there, too.
Biden's going to be sleeping in the sun in the study, and Kamala Harris is going to be like, let's get to work.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we're getting. He tries to run up the stairs to make it seem like he's... Look, man, Joe doesn't need to convince anybody that he's young, because he's not. He's almost 80 years old. Mm-hmm. Bro, just walk up the stairs. He tries to walk upstairs and he falls 3 times. Or he tried to sort of rustle up the stairs. I don't want to say run, but move more quickly, jog up the stairs. Hustle.
Yeah, he had stuff to do on that plane.
Yeah, and then he falls over. And then they said it was windy.
He's falling up.
Yeah, it was the
Good
wind.
thing.
You know,
they
when the
really
wind
said that.
knocks you off the stairs, right?
Yeah.
When you're right in Florida in the midst of a tornado, just standing outside trying to sleep with your cousin, you know when it's happening.
Actually, I wonder if there's someone who's good enough at VFX that could add a tornado background to that video and show the wind and chairs flying and maybe a cow or two.
I read today that, and I did not know this, and maybe you can shed some wisdom on this, Kamala Harris does not need to salute anybody
I saw that.
as the vice president.
Is that normal or what? I don't know.
I don't know if it
not
must
required.
be because of that office.
Because she's
Maybe-
not military.
Is that why it is?
I don't think she's in any kind of command. I don't think she's part of the military.
He has
Yeah.
to, right? Biden has to.
I think so.
I don't know if he has to.
No, he's a commander. He doesn't
Commander
have to.
in chief.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like respect, I guess.
that seems like they get no respect.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't know. I think Kamala Harris is the acting president. And when you look, there's reports that she's the one talking to world leaders. She's now in charge of the border crisis. What is Biden doing? He's complaining about guns on TV, I guess.
Yeah.
That it?
He shows up. I love seeing the trouble at the border and just knowing that it wasn't the last president's fault only. And just
It's their fault.
These are bigger places, and they're more comfortable to keep these migrant children that we've separated from their families.
Yes.
The whole
Just own up to it. If they just owned up to it, wouldn't you and wouldn't other people go, hey, now we can listen to what they want to say? Wouldn't it level the playing field for you?
This is what we were talking about with Black Panther, and if we had a black president, what they could get away with. They weaponized their own problems against Trump. Barack Obama created these facilities. Trump inherited them, and then they blamed Trump while posting photos from the Obama administration.
Yeah.
Then Trump shut them down. This is crazy. Trump shut down some of these facilities. Biden reopened them.
Yeah.
Apparently, Kamala Harris was protesting out in front of one of them and then reopened it.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that works, right? And what do we get now? There's this really cringe video of a woman singing Part of Your World by the Little Mermaid song, but it's about Joe Biden.
I watched literally 2 seconds, and I was like, I can't watch
Your
this
head
thing.
exploded and you just fell over. And
I was just like, I'm not giving this 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I didn't even have time to take a nap today, and I was all excited to get here. And I'm like, I don't have the 2 minutes.
To be fair, well, actually, no. I was going to say, to be fair, the right does have their meme videos of Trump, but I got to be honest, the meme videos of Trump were actually funny. You ever see the one where, I think it was Carpe Donktum, where it's the Time magazine cover, and it says Trump 2024, Trump 2028, Trump 2030, and it keeps going. It's dun, 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 and then it shows Trump dancing, and the number keeps going, and they all freaked out. It was hilarious. There's the one where Trump's doing that weird dance where he does the weird fist thing.
Little white guy dance.
And it's playing that song or whatever. Those were funny. The memes were funny. They were ridiculous. But the the things they're doing now, the Democrats about Biden, it's I liken it to this. You ever see Pure Flicks or old, really low quality Christian versions of superheroes and stuff? Bible Man and Veggie Tales and stuff?
I think so.
That's basically what the left has become. Hollywood and the TV industry, the Democrats are this low quality, unhip facsimile of actual fun mainstream culture. The Puritans have taken it over, and now they're producing just cringe ideology content.
Yeah.
The message is more important than the content.
But that being said, people seek out genuine thought and genuine entertainment more so than they used to. People are more aware of their choices, right?
Yeah. And it's a lot of reruns, a lot of older movies, newer movies. Man, I tell you, it's shockingly bad stuff.
We have an artist named Matt Miller. He does all of our artwork, like these Wuhan shirts and stuff, and I'm not trying to plug him, but I'm just telling you how innovative he is. He worked on this movie that was about these stuntmen that did a jump, and on their car was a Confederate flag because it was modeled after the Dukes of Hazzard thing. The movie's gone. They pulled the movie from everything.
Oh, because the Confederate car,
Because there's
whatever.
a Confederate flag on a car in a movie.
Maybe I should just fund a short film or maybe like a feature length, just a really low budget, but like a well done low budget that just is like the anti-wokest of anti-woke.
I think we should. First of all, I'll do it with you, but lose the idea of very low budget and at least go to medium budget.
But what's medium budget? Because I mean like low budget is in
$150K we could make.
That's what I mean by low budget.
Absolutely. Low budget could be like, now you could shoot a movie on a phone. It'd be crappy. But $150K, we make like an 80s style, totally raunch, un-PC movie.
Yes.
My buddy Zach Wynn had this idea too.
Could it be like a buddy cop film?
It could be whatever you want. Give me $150K. I got the people. We'll put it together. Let's make
get
a
script
movie.
going, man. Let's do it.
Script. Come on, you're antiquated. Yeah,
Uh,
we've thought about. I mean, I had the money. We were right before COVID. We were going to do a cancel culture movie, and we were going to cozy up to the guys that were canceling online and pretend that we weren't going to do a bad thing, and then we were going to cover Shane Gillis and cover all these people, and then hopefully find, all these cancel people have horrible skeletons in their closet. I don't know if you know what drives them,
Yeah.
but they're yelling loudly to cover up what they're hiding.
But were you gonna do like a fictional movie?
No, we were going to do a doc because I
okay.
did a doc called 25 Cents where I did 25 shows in a night, 25 stand-up shows in a night. And then James Altucher, who owns Stand Up New York, was like, let's do something else. And we came up with this cancel
We've been trying
this
to get him to
movie
come on the
idea.
show too, but it's like
James is great. I'll talk to him.
We just need to find a schedule for all this.
Yeah, he's in Florida now because
okay.
he said New York is dead.
Yeah.
And then he got out of there real
Yeah.
quick. And I love James. And then you remember Seinfeld was like, no, it's okay. I can see it from the Hamptons. You
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
you guys in my Porsches. That's Trump doing Seinfeld.
Yeah.
See, I'm not as good at impressions as you. I really just want to hear
There's
more
only
Michael Moore.
some that I'm really good at.
Yeah.
But I guess a decent amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great skill to have. But yeah, we should definitely do an over-the-top, un-PC, 80s style raunch fest. Remember Porky's where they're like looking through the hole and the girls are changing?
No, I
and-
don't know that one.
Oh, Porky's was a classic, and it was shot in Canada too.
Was it
that was
80s?
like, that was one of the. Remember there was movies where you're like, oh, tits, and you were so excited.
I
by
was
just tits.
born in the late 80s.
Were you?
I was born in 86.
Sorry, I was born in '72.
So you got to grow up with all that craziness.
They were Hot Dog. These are movies I will watch Black Panther if you watch Hot Dog and Porky's.
Fair deal.
all right.
Hot Dog was great. It's a ski movie, and there's like a stereotypical Asian guy. He's like, I'm so scared to ski. And then that's how he talked. I'm doing an impression. And then, but you just seem like, oh, boobs, like hot tub scenes, and you're so excited for boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen with Fast Times. That was the 80s, right?
Yeah. Fast
Yeah.
Times is pretty good. Great
Yeah.
soundtrack.
Let's do it. Let's make a stereotypical 80s anti-woke.
All right. We
All
get maybe we even get Ryan Long involved.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're working together on the Our Pillow project, and we'll see if we can get it together, and we'll see how it plays out. Because I don't know if the pillow thing's actually going to end up happening. For the good pillow.
Yeah.
I think the news cycle kind of ran its course, but we have that burlap sack over there,
Yeah, I see it.
full of packing peanuts.
It's very funny.
So we're thinking about it. It's super topical, so it only really works if David Hogg actually does start a pillow company.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure he's actually going to do it. But if he does, then we're going to have the communist version of My Pillow.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you feel when you look at a school shooting like that one that grabbed so much notoriety for so long? I go down to Florida twice a year. We got like a little condo there, and I go down and do comedy a lot. My wife came with me, and she did a Parkland joke 10 minutes outside of Parkland, and the whole crowd turned on her. It's all like
They were
rich.
mad.
They were offended, I think is the best way to put it. And she's like, what's the problem? Whenever she opens for me, she inevitably walks some of the crowd or just offends them and doesn't understand why I don't want her to open for me. So her name's Christine Meehanberg, by the way. She's very funny. And I'm just wondering, do you think in the cases of these school shootings, where a school shooting happens, is that neighborhood then safe for 30 years after? Would you send a kid to that school if you go, hey, I'm going to move down to
No.
Parkland now because I think it's out of
Definitely
the
not.
way?
Definitely not.
You think?
I think they're going to overreact and create overbearing laws and panic, and it's going to become nightmarish for the people who live there. You look at like Norway, for instance, and there was a tragic event, we'll call it that, and they mourned and they carried on because they realized that we can't control the wind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the U.S., you get Chicago every weekend for decades, and they laugh in your face and insult you when you bring it up. They say, you don't really like it's remarkable to me that I'm like, hey, I'm kind of from this place. And I actually interviewed a black woman who was leading the charge on protecting gun rights, getting illegal guns off the street, and advocating for victims of gun violence. They don't care. They don't want to talk about it. And they will tell you to shut your mouth when you do. But then when you get these other tragic events that negatively impact or scare the white, progressive, wealthy, and affluent suburbs, all of a sudden now they demand you bend the knee. But what happens is they panic. They create overbearing and insane rules, laws, and regulations that don't make sense. Literally don't.
Why do people not care about black communities, poor black communities?
Because it's tribalism that guides everything. The Democratic tribe, and I'm not talking about leftists like socialists who actually want socialism and they want Marxist revolution or whatever. The Democrat tribe doesn't care about any kind of principle. I learned this at very early, at a young age. When all the Democrats were protesting George W. Bush in war, the moment Obama got elected, they were gone. Mm-hmm. And they were singing and dancing about Obama while he bombed kids. And I was like, wow, those people lied about everything.
And bombed Flint.
Bombed Flint?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
This was in a Michael Moore movie. You would know. Because
11-9 or whatever?
Yeah.
So
was there any truth to that? Or am I just way off base and that's
I don't
a
know the full
conspiracy
details about
theory?
it. But Michael
set
Moore is
forward?
genuinely nuts. He thinks Donald Trump got elected because of Gwen Stefani.
Yeah.
And his doc, no, I'm not kidding. He says Gwen Stefani got paid more money and Trump got mad. So he used a presidential campaign run to boost his salary so that he could go to NBC and claim now that he's a presidential candidate, they should pay him more.
Wow.
The reason that's psychotic is that Donald Trump registered Make America Great Again years, like I think 4 or 5 years before he even actually announced his run.
Yeah.
Everybody knew he was preparing to run, and he even talked about running back in, I think, 2000 for the Reform Party or something. So Michael Moore has just gone totally crackpot.
Yeah.
But the example, because I've been talking about gun control a lot, they come out and they're like, because of these events, we got to ban the AR-15. And it's like, bro, that's just like saying ban gun. It doesn't mean anything. Say, ban AR-15. What AR-15? What caliber? What kind of? What are you talking about when you say that? Because there's a bunch of other semi-automatic rifles that are functionally the same that aren't AR-15s. So basically, they're coming out and they're telling you to ban something that won't change anything they're complaining about. It is just an overbearing reaction to a crisis. So to your question, I would not send my kid or move to these neighborhoods. They're going to have laws like you can't, if the cat sneezes, it's a $20 fine. And you're going to be like, what? And you're going to be like, it's the law. And because they panic.
That's
they freak
the
out.
knee-jerk reaction is
Right.
to make people more afraid.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.